Hey guys, this is Austin, and today I'm here with the review of the Oppo Find 5. Now on paper this thing looks awesome, but how does it actually stack up?
The first thing you'll notice about the Find 5 is that it's a brick of a phone, and I mean that in a good way. Not only is it fairly big, but it's also quite a bit heavier than something like the Galaxy S4, and solid is the perfect word to describe the build quality. Even though it's made out of plastic, the Find 5 feels like it can take some serious abuse, which is definitely something I like to see. Fire it up to find a 5-inch Full HD 1080p screen. It's on par with the best phones out right now, with incredible amounts of detail and very accurate color and contrast. Fire up a game, and the large size definitely works well, and with that resolution there's no chance of being able to see individual pixels with the naked eye. As an IPS display, it works reasonably well outdoors, although it isn't quite as bright as some other phones. Up top, you'll see a 1.9 megapixel front-facing camera, along with the notification LED and speaker grill, and below the screen are the capacitive menu, home, and back keys. I accidentally hit them quite often as they're closer to the screen than I'd like, however it's something you get used to. Another oddity is the placement of the sleep button on the left side of the phone. It was something I got used to eventually, but being over on the right side or up top would have been better in my opinion. The back is coated in a sharp-looking matte black finish with the speaker grill on bottom and camera up top. Audio quality was reasonable, if a little light on dynamic range, which is about what you should expect from most phones these days. The 13 megapixel camera and dual LED flash is surrounded by brushed metal, which adds a bit of style to the otherwise plain back. The images overall are good, not quite as nice as what you'll find on the Galaxy S4, but you do have a lot of megapixels to work with, along with surprisingly decent low light performance. Where things get a bit disappointing is when you take a look at the software. Oppo has loaded the Find 5 with a heavily skinned version of Android 4.1, and it's a bit of a mess. The unlock screen looks nice, for example, but would often not fully unlock unless I was very deliberate. If you set the alarm or have a calendar notification, by default it plays a long and loud nature sound that can be a real pain to actually get shut off. App icons are automatically given a shadow and background, which just looks bizarre next to some of the stock icons, which pass on this treatment. Nothing in particular amounts to a deal breaker, and Oppo has been constantly upgrading the phone, but it didn't take me long before I was ready to flash a custom ROM. Hardware-wise, there's really not much to complain about. The Find 5 sports a quad-core Snapdragon S4 Pro processor running at 1.5 GHz, along with 2 GB of RAM and either 16 or 32 GB of storage with no micro SD card slot. While it's not quite up to the cutting edge like on the Galaxy S4 or HTC One, it's still one of the fastest and most responsive phones out today. About the only thing I can fault it for in this department is the lack of LTE. It supports both AT&T and T-Mobile here in the US with HSPA+, which is plenty fast for the most part, but it would have been definitely nice to see it rounded out with LTE. With a 2500 mAh battery, I was impressed by the battery life. All but the most heavy smartphone users should have no problem getting through a day with the Find 5.
The Find 5 can be summed up two ways. On the hardware side, it's got a beefy build, good specs, good screen, good battery life, with the only real exception being that it does not have LTE. On the software side, however, it is a bit of a mess. Now for the most part it is usable, and of course it is Android 4.1, however this phone really is in need of a good custom ROM. With an unlocked price of $500, it's a tough sell compared to the Nexus 4, which is not only cheaper, but is also a better phone for most people. However, keep in mind that Oppo is a very new company, and the fact that they've actually been able to make a phone that's this good and this competitive right out of the gate is really impressive. So if you guys are interested in a phone with a kick-ass build and don't mind flashing a ROM, the Oppo Find 5 is definitely worth a look. What do you think about the Find 5? Did they miss the mark, or did Oppo nail it? Definitely be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're interested in more, feel free to check out my list of the best smartphones out right now. And if you enjoyed, definitely be sure to leave this video a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe for more reviews like this. Anyway guys, I will catch you next time.